Well, Mandy, very excited to speak with you. I know you guys have been up to a great deal over the last several months, and you're in an interesting practice area in the sense that it's probate and estate planning. And I have to ask, I guess, just during times of, let's say, uncertainty, or even when whether it's a pandemic or something else, is that traditionally a good thing for the type of business that you're in?
So this was the first pandemic that we had the opportunity to serve clients during. And it was a very interesting experience. So on the estate planning side, typically people agree for the need for estate planning, but there really isn't an urgency. And so it was interesting to contrast sort of normal times with the pandemic, where suddenly the urgency was felt and was on the forefront. And so we actually saw a lot shorter conversion cycle to get clients in, to be able to help them make sure their affairs were in order in case they were to experience any of the ill effects of this pandemic.
So I was curious, over the last 3 months, I know you guys have been very proactive, and it even down to how you've been doing signups. I think you even a while back, you started doing the through the window signings and in ways to communicate. Tell me about that.
So yeah, we've had to evolve to the realities of this situation. So initially, there was not any relief on the legal requirement that the witness and the notary on estate planning documents be present and in the line of physical sight of the person signing their will or their financial power of attorney, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So we pivoted. And I said, okay, how can we maintain the line of sight requirement under the law while protecting the team and protecting the client from any basically sharing of germs? And so I said, okay, well, it'd be great if I have a glass conference room. I don't happen to have a glass conference room here in my office, but I do have a window. And so we set up a small table outside the window immediately by the front door. We set up some chairs out there. I think we put a plant out there. And of course, we wiped everything down. We cleaned that window very well. And then we basically had a drive-up will signing. So it was an opportunity to do something different. The clients really liked it, and I think they really appreciated the lack of immediate contact given the uncertainty of those present times.
Now, once you guys pivoted in that way, what kind of impact did you see overall? I mean, because I think over time now you've seen an uptick in new cases.
So immediately we were doing it that way. There were then, and a couple weeks later, some changes in the law that allowed temporarily the notarization and witnessing attestation to be completed via video chat. So we now have the option of doing that over Zoom. So it's really, it was really just about, okay, look, we can't slow down on the client service. So what are we going to do differently to meet the requirements of this situation?
Mm-hmm. And what about, I guess just from the standpoint, I know we talked about the clients. What about the team as a whole? How is your team responding during this time?
Yeah, so I have tried to pay particular attention to the mindset of my team as well as myself. I think just like anybody else, we are feeling the stress of this situation impacting our everyday lives and really every aspect of our everyday lives. So I've tried to provide opportunities to make sure that we are choosing a positive mindset, to make sure that we are reiterating the team values and the core values of our company. And I'm really just trying to be proactive about managing the way we're thinking about things and the attitudes that we're bringing to the table.
Now I imagine that is not easy to do. From what I heard, you created what was called a self-care wheel. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was noticing that I was trying to pour from an empty cup. So I'm very driven. So I will just continue on pursuit of a goal until I have nothing left to give. And that's not very useful for repeatable performance. And so I thought to myself, I really need to make sure that I'm taking a break. And it's silly to say that it was overwhelming to decide what to do for the break, but my solution was, okay, I'm going to make, it's like a Wheel of Fortune spinning wheel. You can write on it. And so I just wrote different types of self-care. So, a no technology day, take a walk, basically things that are very obvious. And so I just took kind of the choice away. So you spin the wheel, whatever the wheel says you do. And that's just my way of making sure that I'm pouring back into the tank so that there's more to give out later.
When you did that, was that just for you, or did you end up sharing it with the team as well?
Well, I shared the concepts with them, and I was basically just encouraging them to make sure that they're taking time for themselves as well.
Gotcha. What's, over the last 3 months, what have been some of the biggest lessons that you've learned?
The largest lessons that I've learned in the last 3 months are certainly the importance of mindset. It's so easy to overlook when we're trying to do all of the physical manifestations of the running of a business, but you will burn out. Your efforts will not be as far reaching unless you're controlling your mindset and paying the appropriate level of attention to your mindset. And that's not just mine. That's also the mindset of my team. Yeah. That's been a takeaway. Another takeaway has been what opportunities can we find in this unusual time for positive outcomes. So, we have used some of the relative downtime to improve our systems and hopefully provide a better client experience in the future by using that time productively. And then, finally, it's just really about things happen. So you just have to roll with the punches and be available to pivot. You can't be so committed to a particular plan that you cannot proceed in the pursuit of your goals if something unexpected like a pandemic happens.
Yeah, agreed. So I saw something, I think this was a little over a month ago, that you guys put up on your social media. It was almost like a step-by-step plan of how you were working with clients. I think it was socially distanced legal services. It literally laid out step-by-step exactly how you're there to help them and support them, what the process looks like. What was the idea behind that, and how's that been received?
Yeah, so I basically wanted to outline for the clients that we're still here, we're still providing services, and here are the steps that we're taking to make sure we're keeping you and our team safe. I think a lot of people are used to doing things one way, and unless you expressly describe for them, there's another way to accomplish what you're wanting to do, it can be hard for them to visualize it. And so I found that was really useful in just explaining how we could still do the legal work, how we could still make sure that there's a plan for their family without, in the interim, exposing them to whatever the environment had to bear.
Now, I imagine when you rolled out the through the window signings, in other, let's say, estate planning firms were seeing this, did you see them adopt a similar thing, or did they just not pivot?
I did. So, obviously I've spoken to my colleagues about this, and there was an opinion that it was different and it was harder. And for some of them, they decided to delay signings. And I decided not to do that because the urgency was there. In my opinion, there was no reason we couldn't continue. And I just really think that it gave my clients, a lot of whom are elderly and who are in the at-risk population for this thing, it gave them peace of mind. So, if I can give my clients peace of mind in the middle of a pandemic, and it's slightly more inconvenient for me to provide the service with these precautions that I feel are necessary, I feel like that's something I will do time and time again. That's easily something I can easily do to really serve them and meet them where they are.
Yeah. Now, in this experience, I guess going forward into the future, how is this, or has this made any impact on your vision for the firm?
I think it's really just about exploring other opportunities to serve clients and I'm looking at it like, did this just give us a ability to expand our reach tremendously?
Mm-hmm.
People still, by and large, before the pandemic, expected to go to their lawyer's office and talk to their lawyer face to face. And the pandemic has really changed that expectation for a lot of people. And I think that has the potential to outlast this present pandemic. And that could be huge for how we deliver legal services. It could be huge for the cost involved in the delivery of legal services. I think it really has an opportunity to make a tremendous impact on lawyers and legal service.
And for a law firm owner that's watching this right now, I guess to close this out, what advice would you give them? Let's say, and they hear about how proactive you've been, the impact that it's made on the firm. Is it too late to start, putting some of these things in motion, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it's too late for you to consider how you can best meet your clients where they are. For me, that was my elderly clients in a social distancing model where I could still provide legal services in a way that they were comfortable doing what needed to be done to make sure that their future and their family was protected. But I mean, that's just one example. I would encourage anybody, any lawyer watching this, to put yourselves in the shoes of your client. And what is the client experience like for them? If you were receiving services from your firm, what would be easy? What would feel frustrating? And really, I mean, I think that this is an opportunity to flip the script and look at it not from the perspective of what makes it easy for me as the lawyer, but what opportunities do I have to make it easier for the client? And, if you're trying to grow your firm, making your client experience better is going to serve you well in that regard.
I agree 100%. Mandy, thank you. Thank you. This has been incredible. And I commend you just for being so resilient and leading by example, and not just within your firm and your team, but also within your community. When I saw through the window signings, especially as early as you did it, right? So you guys mobilized very, very quickly. So it's one thing to pivot, but to pivot quickly is definitely something you guys have been doing.
Yeah, well, we appreciate the opportunity to tell you a little bit about our experience, and your team, especially Lauren, has been very helpful and very useful in helping me keep my mindset on track. And I really think that without that commitment and without that support, I could be having a totally different experience. So I appreciate everything that Chris has done to help me serve clients in the way we've been able to.